Well, hello and a warm welcome to everyone to join us here today with our Mobile Viewpoint webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about technology innovations, especially in the sports production environment, where we aim to talk about the current implementation of AI, artificial intelligence, AR, VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality, AR as well. With me, I have Phil. Phil, do you want to turn your camera on so we can see you? Great
Hello,
stuff.
everybody. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Phil. So by way of introduction, my name is Mark Andrews. I'm a global sales manager here at Mobile Viewpoint. And Michelle, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, Mark, I'm Michel Weiss, Managing Director Mobile Viewpoint. And I'm here together with Mark to talk, actually to help our guest to present his very intelligent VR products. And yeah, we hope you like it. It's more informal than a sales pitch. We'd really like to show you also other technologies developing in our world and could be potentially used in combination with our studio, for example.
For sure. And Phil, would you like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon. I'm Phil Ventry. I'm VP of Broadcast at Ncam Technologies based in London. We have offices in London, China, and also in LA, and working with some of the big broadcasters across news and sport and esports across the world.
Fantastic. Thank you, Phil. So just a bit of housekeeping to start with. We're going to talk for 10, 20 minutes. We'll do a quick presentation. But as we go, we invite you to submit questions. So within Zoom, you've got the Q&A box. By all means, as we carry through, just put some questions in. And at the end, we'll have a live Q&A session. Just for your information, everybody's on mute. So don't worry about making noise. Nobody can hear you. So I will start. I will share my screen, and I have a little presentation. So hopefully everyone can see my presentation. So welcome, yes, AI. So Mobile Viewpoint, as an organization, for those of you who don't know us, we're actually based in the Netherlands, about 25 kilometers north of Amsterdam. And for the last 10 years, we've been innovators in live streaming, particularly manufacturing mobile and fixed encoders for outside broadcasts. So for sports production, especially, but also for news and other outside events. So I guess over the last sort of year and a half, we've actually been then diverging into more AI technology as well. So we have two AI products, and one of which is vPilot, which is actually a cameraless studio production environment. And that's actually what we're using here for this webinar. So we have all the cameras. We have 5 cameras set up here, actually, but not a cameraman or a director in sight. It's all driven by AI. But the interesting thing that we're going to talk about today is our other AI product, which is our IQSP, which stands for IQ Sports Production, which is, again, is an automated sports production system. So again, it's the ability to create professional sports production, but without the need of a camera team. And we'll talk a bit about positioning as well. So when talk about AI, maybe this is more for my benefit, I'm not sure. But when I was a young child, Skynet, hopefully many of you are familiar with Skynet. So Skynet is from Terminator. And this is sort of back in the 90s when obviously AI and machine learning was very even relevant back then for sort of Hollywood productions. And Skynet, of course, was the computer that became self-aware. Actually, the date was August the 29th, 1997, and basically took over the world. So for me, when I was young, my impression of AI was all these sort of robots and fascinating things like that. But perhaps reality is a little bit different today. Here we go. So that's what our AI technology looks like. It's all sitting on a server. In fact, that's our IQ sports production box, which we tend to sit on site within a sports environment. And a little bit about AI and machine learning. I put this out there because I have in the past had a few sort of arguments with people about what AI is and what machine learning is. And this is straight out of Google, so I'm going to read it verbatim. Artificial intelligence is the broader concept of machines being able to carry out tasks in a way that we consider smart. Machine learning is a current application of AI based around the idea that we should really just be able to give machines access to data and let them learn for themselves. So on that note, I'm going to talk a bit about our AI platform specifically for sports production. So what we have a camera, typically installed above the field of play. And in fact, the camera itself consists of 4 by 4K cameras, and it's creating a panoramic view of the whole pitch, of the whole sports area. And in fact, we record the whole production, the whole pitch. So any play that's going on there, we actually record everything. And that in itself gets streamed back to our server. But then what we create, what the AI is doing, it's following the action of the ball and the players. So in fact, the camera, we create what we call a virtual camera, and that's what's following the action of the play. So they'll be recording the whole panoramic view. In fact, we then have a software camera which moves and follow the action of play. And in fact, it's not just the AI-produced stream that we can live stream. We can also create up to 5 different streams. So if you wanted a separate shot of the camera, of the goals or particular parts of the field, then we can create that as well. But the primary stream would be the AI-driven stream as well. So we have some examples, which I will show you. So here's a football. Now, interesting to note now, the ball's gone off, but watch where the camera moves. It does predictive tracking. It already knows which the direction the ball is going to be thrown in and starts to pan in that direction. But the AI is following all the tracking. But there's more, actually, than just this. We can also do scoreboard overlays. So we can actually, if there's a scoreboard on the field, we'll be able to look at that, and using OCR, we're able to take that and overlay it over the top. But more importantly, and hopefully Michelle's going to do a demo of this in a second, is that we can do replays as well. So if a goal is scored, we recognize as a goal scored, and then we create an automatic replay. And then at the end of the match, then people often want to see the highlighted version. And again, it can create a highlight version and an edit, if you like, of everything, of just showing the highlights, which it automatically creates itself. Now, we're not just supporting soccer, we're actually supporting a range of indoor and outdoor sports. So, for example, this is sort of an indoor sport. This is ice hockey. The challenge with ice hockey is the fact the puck is very small and it's moving very fast. And in fact, what we have here is an orange overlay over the top, just to show it. But again, even in this sort of scenario, it's working really well, and it's able to track the ball and zoom in wherever it needs to.
And the funny thing is, of course, that this is better than a real cameraman. The real cameraman sometimes loses the puck because it goes so fast. But with AI, you're able to still detect the puck, and that is, of course, very interesting. So sometimes you can even become better.
Yep, absolutely agree. And the one question we often get asked as well is, you know, with this AI technology, are you looking to replace cameramen? Are we trying to put camera people out of business? And the answer is no. Where we position this and where we see it is actually as complementary to sort of production systems. So what we're not trying to do is replace those Premier League, Bundesliga. They have sort of the tier 1 sports where they send a camera crew to site, maybe a production team. That is not what we're trying to replace. Obviously, a director on site, he can see exactly what's going on. Maybe something interesting with a referee or something off the ball play, and they're able to do that and direct accordingly. Where we position ourselves is more sort of those tier 2 sports or those grassroots sports. But maybe we do actually do work with Ajax and Porto, and where they're using this technology and they find it very beneficial is for the training, but also for the under 21s, the under 18 games, the women's sports, where potentially they just don't have the resource or the budget to send a production team to site. So this is a very cost-effective way of creating a production, a sports production, but not at the budget that you need to for a full-on site production team. So that's almost the end of my presentation. In terms of my contact details, if you're interested in learning more about our technology, then the email address is sales@mobileviewpoint.com. But what I'm going to do now is hand over to Michelle. I'm going to stop sharing this screen where hopefully we can do a demo just showing the highlights. So Michelle, perhaps you can say what we're seeing here.
Yeah, what you see over here is actually our cockpit of our automatic sports production solution. So what you see over here is, of course, already a match in progress. You see the time is running. And actually what Mark wants to emphasize over here is that although you can do everything fully automatic, many of our production customers want a more half automatic. They want to be involved in the production anyhow. They just see our solution as a cameraman. It's not real, so not real people, but just an automatic part. So what they like to do is actually manually play highlights. So what we can do, automatically detect a goal, and then you can see over here, then we can say over here, just play, and then you can start playing the highlight. You can also do it automatically, but this is how you as a director can still influence the whole production, but you can also keep it running, of course, automatic. And it's a little bit hard to see perhaps, but if the automatic highlight is detected, we of course detect that the ball is on the middle stip, and just a moment before that we see that that's probably where the goal went in. But with AI is not the crystal ball, so sometimes it's a bit guessing. So you are also able as a director to fine tune the highlight over here to make it a little bit earlier. And then you can also play that again. So we're really offering a kind of hybrid solution. We can offer it fully automatic, but then you get sometimes, that you miss something or that the AI was not able to find the goal on time. And with the manual intervention, you can just influence the match yourself. Also, the score updates are automatically based on detection of the ball on the middle stip. So a lot of AI about spell recognition, game recognition, but you can also do it manually. So you can also change the score manually. So with IQ, we try to make a solution that benefits both people who still want to be, a lot of manual stuff, want to be in control, and the fully automatic people, like we just talked about with Porto and Ajax, who just want to broadcast the youth games, but not want to spend really resources on it, because in the past it was not even broadcasted at all. So now they have something at a very low cost and also get the replays played automatically.
Yeah, and they often use it for training purposes and that sort of thing. So we're tracking the players, even though they have no GPS tracker. We can follow.
So especially for the trainers of those younger teams, it is a very interesting tool to make clips of certain moves. And also, if you also have a set that you can go over the panorama and actually move the camera yourself, so you can even create your own director. But that's very interesting for trainers as well.
Yeah. Interesting. And I guess with the whole industry moving to remote production as well, what we're showing now, it's a browser-based management platform. I mean, you can basically do this from anywhere in the world, can't you?
Yeah, and of course, with the whole corona crisis going on out there, you see more and more interest also from the bigger players to do more this type of automation, because there is no other way to do it. You cannot send a lot of people anymore in the street or to a stadium, because or you're not allowed to travel, or the football club doesn't allow so many production people in-house.
Yeah.
So we see a big uptake also on the higher end production customers wanting to use our IQ Sports solution.
Fantastic. All right, Michelle, thanks very much. So that sort of concludes us. So what I'm going to do now is stop sharing. I'm going to pass the baton, if you like, to our special guest, Phil. I'm just going to make you host as well. Yes, so Phil, over to you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can we all see my screen?
We can see it, yes.
Yep. So good afternoon. I'm Phil Ventry. As I said before, I'm VP of Broadcast at Sports and Broadcast at Ncam Technologies. I'm going to run through a few quick slides with you. I think that we can sit and talk all day and look at slides. I think what we're better seeing is what does the end result look like? Picture tells 1,000 words. So I'm going to give you 4 different videos at the end from projects that we've done with different sports clients, and each have been done in different environments. So I'll put a bit of context around them before each one and show how we've done them. So a little bit about Ncam. We were founded in 2012. As I've mentioned before, offices in London, LA, and China, with manufacturing also in the UK. Our heritage is from film. So big Hollywood productions back in 2012. And then we kind of moved into live broadcast sports and esports, and saw that there was a market there as well. So I've been working quite a lot with a lot of the big broadcasters on some major events, so Premier League, Bundesliga, Champions League, American football, so the Super Bowl over in the States, Ball, you name it, we've been there somehow in some shape or form. What we've done recently, particularly in the last 18 months, we started putting together a number of roundtables with broadcasters and in particular sports production companies. And that was to look at how we service the market better. So what do we need to do within a sports production environment to make things better, easier, more flexible? All those points that you guys as sports producers want to know. And the outcome was our new Mark II bar. So you will see on the left-hand side, we have the old Mark I bar, which was a dual fisheye lens. And we've moved now to this new Mark II bar. So the Mark I bar was 1.2 kilos in weight. You can see it was a bit cumbersome. The new bar is 290 grams. So it's built on Intel technology and with new hybrid capability. So we've gone for a one-size-fits-all approach. So previously, we were a bit convoluted, I would say, in that we had 3 different options for broadcast. And they would be for PTZ, for studio, and for event. So event being outdoors. What we've done now, we've moved those all into one. So you get the one bar and processor, and that will be available across the board to use indoors or outdoors to make it much more flexible. One size fits all, we call it. It's got more additional sensors, it's lighter, it's more robust. And the new processor that comes with it, as you will see on the left-hand side here, the previous one was 11 kilos. This new one is less than a kilo. So the weight of the new bar and new processor together are actually lighter and take up more, they take up less space than the Mark I bar. It also has wireless capability, which I think is really useful now, particularly when we're looking more at remote production. And you see that moving along much faster than we potentially would have expected due to the current environment with the coronavirus. This is what it looks like on camera. So you will see the bar here and the processor on the side. Now this can be attached to either the camera or to the cameraman if you're using a Steadicam. We're actually testing as well with drones at the moment. So that should be interesting moving forward. On the right, you will see the size of the bar in comparison to the Mark I bar with the processor. And again, in comparison to an iPhone and a pen and an AirPod. This is the workflow. You can see, I won't go through this because you're all TV people. You know how this works, but if you want, you can contact Mark afterwards, and I'm happy to share this presentation with you or to give you any more information. What are the benefits? We'll look more at the augmented and virtual production. The gaming engines now, they're so advanced and offering so good photorealism in real time that it's just given a wow factor, and it's making it much better for audience and fan engagement, especially with your foreground graphic elements and your scoreboards and your player avatars. And this photorealism with the virtual sets is making it very difficult to determine what's real and what's not. And we work with all of the main graphics vendors. So from Viz to Brainstorm through to Ross Video and also Unreal themselves, as we have our own Unreal plugin. I'm really excited about the new UE5 that's coming out next year. Initially viewing it looks absolutely amazing. So it will be great to see what that looks like and the influence that has on our market and our workflows moving forward. Some of the companies that we work with, I've put a small number on here. You'll see some big names on there. As we said before, working on major projects both in EMEA, North and South America, number now over in also in Asia, and also in Australia as well, where we have partners out there. We talked previously about working with a number of the broadcasters, and what we've done, we call it democratizing AR. So what does that mean? There were 6 main parts that came out of our roundtables, and they were cost effectiveness, creative freedom, simplicity, accuracy, reliability, and flexibility. When you look traditionally at our previous solutions, they went from 20,000 for a PTZ through to 50,000 for an event system. And that often caused an issue for when people wanted to use AR, and the creatives came up with ideas, and then they took them to the money people in the suits who were holding the budgets. The first line that was drawn out was for AR because it was seen as too expensive for an event. So what we've done, we've looked, and by going into this the new model using Intel, it means that we've now dropped with our hardware, so that the cost of hardware for Perpetual to buy it outright is under $6,000. It's $5,995, and we wanted to give creative freedom as well. So who do you want to work with? You know, which vendor do you want to work with? Is it UE4? Is it one of the other vendors? Whoever. AR and VR was often seen as being very cumbersome, hard to set up, and always needing additional manpower. So part of what we looked at was simplicity, fast and accurate setup. What we've been working and testing on and proving over the last couple of months is being able to go out in sets that are going to different locations every week, and we're setting up straight away. The set's loaded, in we go, you're in the day before, set up, find your 0 point, click play, and you're ready to go. And this has been really, really important to a number of our broadcast partners. So it's something we wanted to deliver and be able to bring out across the market. So it's not just available for tier 1 projects, such as your Premier Leagues and your World Cups and your Super Bowls, but it's also so that you can use it for the likes of the tier 2 and tier 3 sports like netball, speedway, and some of the smaller athletic events. But what we couldn't do was drop the price and reduce the accuracy. So it was really, really important that we were still accurate. So for example, with Sky Sports, part of what we do, we're shooting with a window that looks onto the field of play. So we couldn't have the field of play being compromised. So it had to stay accurate to the millimeter. And that's something we've managed to achieve. And obviously it had to be reliable. One of the issues that we faced previously was that the lens would get knocked, and that would cause an issue. But now it's a lot smaller. It takes up a lot smaller footprint. And with the fact that you're not having to put markers down every time that you go in, it gives you that flexibility. So you can do things in real time, anywhere, in any type of studio or any outdoor environment. So you can actually pick a camera up and take it somewhere else and start tracking somewhere straight away. I'm going to show you now some of the different, we've talked a little bit about what we've done and where we've done it. So what I want to do is do it so that we're now showing in different environments. So this is something that we've been doing with BT Sport, and this is around the Champions League. So this is a fixed studio that's used every week. It's the biggest actual studio in Europe. It's something like 14,000 square feet, which I think is about 8,000 square meters. Not too sure on that, but you know. So it was with the BT Sport. Jamie Hindhoff, who is the Chief Operating Officer from BT, explains it well here. So I'll just run this and Jamie can describe it for us. Just let me know that the...
Hello and welcome to BT Sport, the new home of the UEFA Champions League.
In September 2015, BT Sport became the exclusive home of the UEFA Champions League and UEFA Europa League. We really wanted to push the creative boundaries with our exclusive coverage. That's why we've invested in Ncam's technology. The response from our audience has been fantastic around our augmented reality offerings. With Ncam constantly tracking the position of all three cameras simultaneously, our director has the freedom to find and explore multiple angles while keeping all the augmented reality content locked in place. This really adds so much to the production values of the shows. It creates a great immersive experience, bringing the audience into the games and the discussions, and really truly creating a fantastic output for BT Sport. We used Ncam's live tracking systems on a rolling jib, a Steadicam and a robotic dolly. The jib allows free movement around the studio as well as high beauty shots, which include an intricate nighttime 3D map of Europe with models of the stadium in use. This helps us to pinpoint where games are happening, what scores are, and to give a real flavour of being immersed in a true European competition.
So that's our first one. As we said, it's in a large studio that's fixed. The second one I'm going to show you is actually with Sky Sports, and it's for their Premier League output. So this studio goes to 90 different events each season. So each time they go to a different stadium, they're using a corporate box which overlooks the field of play. Now, each of those corporate boxes are a different size. So the challenge that we have to face is that we have to set up. The setup has to be the day before the game, at the earliest. Each of the corporate boxes are a different size, but we have to make the studio look the same each and every week. So there's a little video we're going to run now. It shows how we do the setup and what the output is like.
Hello and
wrong one. There we go.
Oh, when I'm working home. Oh, when you're living on faith. Something's got to give.
Just wonderful.
Something's got to give. Oh, when you're giving your
sensational.
Oh, when it's coming. Sure. Something's got to give.
Salah.
Something's got to give. Give a little more.
Astonishing.
Oh, yes. And the song is tough, got a little more.
Now, you may or may not have noticed that from that sizzle reel that a number of those shots were each from different stadiums. There's 4 or 5 different stadia there. So there was Anfield, based in Liverpool. There was the Emirates for Arsenal, Everton, which is also in Liverpool, and Old Trafford in Manchester. But on each and every occasion, the studio looked the same, even though they were in different size corporate boxes. The next one I'm going to show you is something we did with our friends at CBS Sports, who were great to work with. And this was something that we did initially as a proof of concept. And it was for the Super Bowl. And it was rendered in real time. It was for the start of the opening sequence for the Super Bowl. And was done using a Steadicam. So we had an operator actually on the field prior to, during the game when it was shot. When we did it, there were a number of us in the OB van outside. It was a bit like being in the space shuttle waiting for it to take off, when you know that there's hundreds of millions of eyes watching you and you're wanting to make sure that it works properly. And this was the outcome.
And we are backstage with Tom Brady.
There we go. the outpouring of relief following that, when it worked well, was fantastic. The OP van was actually rocking with everybody jumping up and down. Now, the final one I'm going to show you, I'm not going to play all the way through. This was, again, in a different environment. And this was for Fortnite, part of Epic. And it was for one of their events in LA. And what we're showing here is it's within a stadium, but it's actually being broadcast out. So they were using our Unreal plugin for this. So you'll see the AR on the actual screens itself, and then how the camera is moving around and how the director is using AR within the shots for the actual event.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Jonesies, Bonesies, and everyone in between, welcome to the Fortnite Summer Block Party Day 2 pre-show.
I'll stop it there, guys, because it goes on for quite a time. But many thanks for having the viewing. And if you've got any questions, please direct them to Mark, and I'm sure that he can direct them my way.
Great.
Mark, over to you.
Phil.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, Phil. Thanks. That was quite a great presentation. What I do now is invite everyone, if you have questions, please fill in the Q&A box. But actually, before that, Phil, maybe I got a question for you. Rumor has it that back in the day, you were a bit of a sportsman yourself. I'm kind of interested in knowing like a little bit of that as well, but also how the technology has evolved since those times and to present date. And also a second question, what's your feeling of the future, of where we're going with this sort of technology?
Which question do you want me to answer first?
Yeah, you passed, mate. You passed.
Yeah, I've got a background as an ex-footballer, albeit not a very good one. So some experience of playing back at Liverpool in the day, and also Wigan Athletic before going to play in the States. It was interesting that you mentioned this, Mark. My kids had some old videos out a couple of weeks ago of games that we played. That I was playing them back in 1993, and the graphics that you see in those games on an old VHS tape, they're a million miles away from what we're used to seeing today. Did make me feel rather old, and made me feel a lot older when I looked how thinner I was in comparison to what I am now. So yeah, that was a big change. But we see how much things have come on. I think moving forward, for me, AR was always seen, and I've used this expression previously, as the cherry on top of the icing, on top of the very expensive cake. And it was always seen as the first thing to be cut in a budget line. And it was at a point where it could only be used at the major tier 1 events. I think we're seeing that changing now. What we wanted to do was to bring it down. We're actually working with a sports partner at the moment, which is one of the biggest broadcasters in Europe, which everybody will know. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to say who they are at the moment, but they plan to use it for the Olympics and for some of their football stuff during the summer. Unfortunately, that's all been put on hold due to the COVID virus. But their plan is to move it out onto their tier 2 and tier 3 sports that they are putting on different channels, such as women's netball, speedway, and athletics, so that they can give the same production values to the tier 2 and tier 3 sports as they're given to the tier 1 sports. Now, as we're able to do this wirelessly as well on the with the new processor and the new bar, this is making it really, really cost effective. So we're sending back data. The bars on the camera at the event, it's going back to the broadcaster. It's only taking up 16 kilobytes of space, which is nothing, being rendered back at base and then being broadcast out. So this works really well now for remote production, and this is all the stuff we were looking to do for the Olympics and the Euros for a number of broadcasters during the summer, and stuff that we've proved to have done, particularly for the Mexican League, down, in Central America last season, and stuff that we tested. So I think we're going to see AR being used a lot more in the future than VR, and I think particularly when UE5 comes out next year, we will see it. We won't see any difference in what is real and what's not real, and I think that's where we're going to see it being used a lot more, and it'll be something that people expect on every sports broadcast event.
Yeah, I think it's a great point, isn't it? And I guess the last video as well with the Minecraft, sometimes it's hard to know what's real and what's not real. Yeah. So like Phil, your background, for example, you've really snuck into the office, but actually it looks like your living room, but I guess it's not. I guess it's something completely different in reality.
No, I'm actually sitting outside the pub now.
Exactly.
The pub's actually closed, but I'm having withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, but your boss thinks you sat in your living room working, but the reality...
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah, of course I'm working.
Yeah. Good. Okay, on that note, I'm going to look at the questions. We have a couple of questions. First one from James. Welcome, James. Talking about the AI. How much time to set up the cameras? Can they a little on set up in a stadium? So I guess in terms of setting it up, Michelle.
Oh, this is more about an IQ question.
I think so,
yeah,
yes.
VR. No, take the cameras. Not that much time. A lot of things are automatically done. As soon as you set up the camera, you go to the web interface of the system, and then you just check out what you see, and then you just have to point with your mouse on the corners of the pitch, also from the goal area. And then the system knows exactly what is the pitch, where to look for the ball, and actually that's it. Then the whole thing goes automatic. As said, if you don't want to spend time on it, it goes all fully automatic. If you find the scoreboard, you can OCR it. If you cannot find it, you can leave it that they automatically detect the goals and the score. And then that's it.
Yeah.
So within 15 minutes, you could be ready. But of course, to be on the safe side, that would be 1 hour early. There's just some time to roll out the cables, find the power socket, because that's the most important thing most times, to find power.
Sure. And I guess, I mean, our original thinking was that this would be semi-permanently installed in a stadium with a camera, so you set it up once and you're done. But obviously with remote productions, we're looking at more and more sort of having a mobile setup.
Yeah, that's no problem. Especially with our website, it's very easy to set up the system on site when you arrive. As I said, you just pinpoint the corners of the pitch and then you're done. So mobile is these days very easy with our system.
Fabulous.
The good thing is that you will find a platform that is stable, because the match I showed you was in Manchester City, and that was on a platform that's a little bit unstable. So sometimes you saw the whole setup moving around a bit, but that's a requirement that you have a sturdy setup for your camera.
Like a friendly lamppost or something.
Yeah, or just a good platform on the stand, but that's an important thing.
Great stuff. And in fact, the second question wasn't a question at all. It was a comment just saying our shots look good, which is very nice to say. Let me just check the chat, see if there's any questions in the chat. Yeah, no, nothing there. Just some comments. So, well, I think we're done. So what I would like to say, we'll probably email out after the event a link. We'll put this online, so if you wish to watch it again, you can. But if you have any questions, my email sales@mobileviewpoint.com. You know, if you've got opportunities, inquiries, that sort of stuff, you know, just let us know if we can help. And if you've got questions for Phil too, then we can pass them along. This is actually one of many webinars we are doing for broadcast with the news. We did one last week on 5G, but we've got a whole range of other ones coming up as well. Soundbite webinars meant to be educational. So if you want to sign up for our newsletter, again, come to our website, mobileviewpoint.com, and we'll happily keep you informed of everything that's going on, our news, our webinars, and everything else. And I think on that note, we're done. Michelle, any last words?
No, I think that's it. Many thanks for everybody watching us. And of course, Phil, many thanks for telling us so much interesting about the VR. And I personally like, of course, the whole story about getting things smaller and using, for example, the RealSense platform to make a solution more cost affordable.
Fantastic.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. Phil, so
thank you very much, guys.
We appreciate it. And on that note, I would just like to thank all our attendees for watching this afternoon. Until next time, stay safe. See you again. Thank you.